Commander Day-Wan stood on the bridge of his ship, the stellar dawn, and watched the stars drift past the windows. He had been exploring space for 10 years, but today felt different. Today they were heading to the edge of the Veil Nebula, a place where few ships ever went. His crew was talking quietly behind him. There was Hana, his science officer, checking her screens with careful eyes. The others moved around doing their jobs just like any other day. But Day-Wan could not shake the strange feeling in his chest. "Commander, we are approaching the target," said the pilot. "It looks like an old space station." Day-Wan nodded. The station appeared on the main screen, floating in the darkness like a ghost. It was huge, much bigger than their ship. The metal was old and covered with dust from space, but it was still in one piece. Most old stations fell apart after a few hundred years, but this one looked strong. "Is anyone alive there?" Day-Wan asked. Hana shook her head. "No life signs. It is completely dead." They docked with the station carefully. The airlock hissed as it connected. Day-Wan led a small team inside, their boots making soft sounds on the metal floor. Emergency lights flickered on as they walked, sensing their movement. The walls had strange writing on them. Hana stopped and touched the letters carefully. Her eyes went wide. "This is human writing," she said quietly. "Old human writing." Day-Wan felt a chill run down his back. Humans were gone. Everyone knew that. Their home planet Earth had died over 600 years ago. The few human colonies that existed back then had disappeared. No one had seen a living human in centuries. They were just stories now, warnings about what happened when a species grew too fast and burned too bright. "Are you sure?" he asked. Hana nodded. "Yes, this station is from the old Terran Republic." Before they fell, they moved deeper into the station. The rooms were clean but empty. Everything was preserved like a museum frozen in time. They found sleeping chambers, hundreds of them, all dark and silent. Then, without warning, lights blazed to life all around them. The team jumped back, weapons ready. Screens on the walls flickered on, showing streams of data. A voice spoke, clear and calm. "Welcome to Arc 7. Please identify yourselves." Day-Wan's heart pounded. "This is Commander Day-Wan of the Concordance exploration vessel Stellar Dawn. We come in peace." There was a long pause. Then a face appeared on the largest screen. It was a woman, human, with dark hair and tired eyes. She looked at them with confusion and hope mixed together. "My name is Dr. Minji," the woman said. "I am the chief scientist of this station." "You said you are from the Concordance." "I do not know that name." "Where are you from?" "The Concordance is the alliance of 47 species," Day-Wan explained slowly. "We maintain peace across this region of space. We have existed for over 200 years. Minji's face went pale. 200 years? How long have we been asleep? "This station is from the Terran Republic era," Hana said gently. "That was over 600 years ago." Minji closed her eyes. When she opened them again, tears were running down her face. 600 years. "We waited so long. We thought someone would come. We thought Earth would recover." "Earth is gone," Day-Wan said quietly. "The planet died. Humanity is considered extinct. You are the first living humans we have ever seen." The silence that followed was heavy. Minji wiped her face and straightened her shoulders. "How many of us are left? Anywhere?" "We do not know," Day-Wan admitted. "The human colonies disappeared centuries ago. Some may have integrated with other species. Some may have simply died out. We thought you were all gone." Minji looked down at something off-screen. "This station holds 10,000 people in cryosleep. We were supposed to wait for Earth to recover, or for a new colony world to be found. The automated systems kept us frozen, waiting for a signal that never came." 10,000, Hana whispered. "That many survived?" "We were one of 12 ARC stations," Minji said. "I do not know if the others still exist. Our power is failing. Life support will not last another 10 years. We will die here in our sleep if nothing changes." Day-Wan made a decision in that moment. He knew his superiors would be angry. He knew this would cause problems. But looking at Minji's face, at the hope and fear in her eyes, he could not turn away. "Dr. Minji, on behalf of the Concordance, I invite you and your people to join us. We cannot promise it will be easy. The galaxy has changed, but you will not die alone in the dark. You have my word." Minji stared at him for a long moment. Then she smiled, a real smile that reached her eyes. "Thank you, Commander. I will wake a small group first. 50 people. We need to see this new galaxy before we wake everyone." Over the next 3 days, Day-Wan watched as the cryogenic chambers opened one by one, 50 humans emerged, confused and afraid. Among them was Jin Ho, a tall man with sharp eyes who had been a military officer before the freeze. There was also Bora, a scientist who had studied alien life before such a thing became impossible. Jin Ho did not trust easily. He watched everything with the eyes of a soldier. When Daewon showed them around the stellar dawn, Jin Ho asked hard questions. "You said the Concordance has 47 species," Jin Ho said. "Do you ever fight? Do you have wars?" "We have not had a major war in 200 years, Daewon replied. "We believe in peace and cooperation." Jin Ho laughed, but it was not a happy sound. 200 years of peace. You have forgotten what war looks like. Is that a bad thing? Hana asked. It is if something dangerous comes, Jin Ho said. Peace makes you soft. Soft things break. Daewon wanted to argue, but something in Jin Ho's eyes stopped him. This man had seen things, terrible things. Maybe there was wisdom in his caution. They took the humans to Solara 4, a frontier world where the Concordance was building new settlements. The humans were given homes and help to adjust. Most people were curious about them, treating them like interesting relics from the past. But not everyone was welcoming. Some thought the humans were dangerous. Others thought they should be left in the past where they belonged. At night, Minji stood on a balcony and looked up at the stars. Daewon found her there. Are you all right? He asked. She smiled sadly. I am alive. That is more than I expected. But everything I knew is gone. Every person I loved who was not on that station is dust. It is hard. I cannot imagine, Daewon said. Your galaxy is beautiful, Minji said. So peaceful. I hope it stays that way. It will, Daewon promised. But even as he said it, somewhere far away in the dark between stars, something ancient and hungry was beginning to move. The peace was about to end and no one was ready. 6 months had passed since the humans woke from their long sleep. Jin Ho stood in the training center on Solara 4, watching the Concordant soldiers practice. They moved well enough, but something was wrong. They trained like they were playing a game, not preparing for real danger. A young Velkari officer approached him. You are Jin Ho, yes? The human who was a soldier. I was, Jin Ho replied. Can you teach me? The Velkari asked. I want to learn how humans fought. Jin Ho looked at the young soldier. Why, you have peace here. You do not need to know how to kill. Peace does not last forever, the Velkari said quietly. My grandmother told me stories. She said we forgot too much. Before Jin Ho could answer, alarms began screaming across the base. Red lights flashed. Everyone stopped and looked around in confusion. Daewon's voice came through the speakers. All personnel report to your stations. We have lost contact with Thresh 7. The Stellar Dawn is being deployed to investigate. Jin Ho ran to the command center. He found Daewon preparing for departure. Take me with you, Jin Ho said. This is not a military mission, Daewon replied. We are just checking communications. Then you will not mind having me along, Jin Ho said firmly. Daewon looked at him for a moment, then nodded. Fine, but follow my orders. The journey to Thresh 7 took 3 days. Jin Ho spent the time studying the Concordance military systems. They were good for keeping peace, but terrible for actual war. The weapons were designed to disable, not destroy. The shields were meant to protect against accidents, not attacks. Hana found him in the armory one night. You look worried, she said. I am, Jin Ho admitted. Your people have not fought a real war in 2 centuries. You have forgotten what real enemies look like. Maybe that is a good thing, Hana suggested. Maybe, Jin Ho said. Or maybe it means you will not be ready when something bad comes. When they arrived at Thresh 7, the silence hit them first. No ships, no signals, no lights from the cities below. The planet just floated in space like a dead thing. Full scan, Daewon ordered, his voice tight. The results came back quickly. Hana's hand shook as she read them. Commander, the cities are gone. All of them. Orbital stations destroyed. I am reading massive heat signatures from the surface. It looks like weapons fire. Find survivors, Daewon commanded. They searched for hours. Finally, they found one ship, a small merchant vessel hiding behind a moon. The crew was alive, but barely. They had escaped the attack by pure luck. The captain was a Thuron named Taejin. He was shaking when they brought him aboard the Stellar Dawn. His eyes were wide and empty, like he had seen something that broke his mind. What happened? Daewon asked gently. Taejin took a long time to answer. They came from nowhere. Black ships bigger than anything I have ever seen. They did not talk, did not warn us. They just started killing. Who were they? Hana asked. I do not know, Taejin whispered. My crew called them devourers. They destroyed everything. The defenses, the cities, the people. 2 million souls gone in hours. Jinho stepped forward. Captain, I need you to focus. How did they attack? What patterns did they use? Taejin looked at Jinho with haunted eyes. Fast, coordinated, they knew exactly where to hit. Our defenses were useless. Jinho turned to Daewon. This was not a raid. This was a test. They were studying your defenses, your response time, your capabilities. A test for what? Daewon asked. For invasion, Jinho said quietly. This is how it always starts. One attack, then they wait and watch. Next time, they will come with everything they have. They returned to Solara 4 with the terrible news. The Concordance Council met to discuss what should be done. Jinho was invited to present his analysis. He stood before the council, feeling small among the gathered leaders of 47 species. The Devourers are coming back, he said simply. This was not an isolated attack. They are testing you. When they return, it will be with overwhelming force. Counselor Yuna, a respected leader from the Ryloth species, spoke up. How can you be certain? This could be a single rogue group. I have seen this before, Jinho replied. Humanity fought many wars. We know the patterns. This is methodical, professional. These are not raiders. They are soldiers, and they are preparing to destroy you. Another counselor laughed. Humans always saw war everywhere. Perhaps that is why your species died out. Jinho felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his voice calm. You are right. Humans did see war everywhere. Because war kept finding us, we learned to recognize danger because we had no choice. You have had peace for so long that you have forgotten what real danger looks like. We will send a diplomatic mission, the council decided. We will find these devourers and negotiate peace. Jinho wanted to scream. They did not understand, but he bit his tongue and left the council chambers. That night, Minji called a secret meeting of all the awakened humans. They gathered in a small room, 50 souls trying to decide the fate of billions. We should run, one human said. Find the other ARC stations, wake everyone, and flee to the edge of the galaxy. This is not our fight. Yes, it is, Bora argued. The Concordance gave us a home when we had nothing. They gave us hope. We cannot abandon them now. She is right, Jinho said. Besides, where would we run? The Devourers will not stop with the Concordance. They will spread like a disease. Eventually they will find us too. Minji stood up. We need to make a choice. Do we try to save ourselves or do we try to save everyone? The humans voted. It was not unanimous, but the majority agreed. They would stay. They would fight. Jinho addressed the group. If we do this, it will not be easy. We need to wake more of our people. We need soldiers, engineers, strategists. The Concordance does not know how to fight a real war. We need to teach them. Will they let us? Someone asked. They will when the Devourers come back, Jinho said grimly, and they will come back soon. Daewon found Jinho later, standing alone on an observation deck. The council thinks I am being paranoid, Daewon said. They think you are making me afraid for no reason. Do you think I am lying? Jinho asked. No, Daewon admitted. I saw Thresh 7. I saw what was left. But the council has kept peace for 200 years. They believe in diplomacy. Diplomacy works when both sides want peace, Jinho said. But some enemies do not want to talk. Some enemies just want to consume. The Devourers are that kind of enemy. How do you know? Daewon asked. Because humanity met enemies like that before, Jinho replied. We learned the hard way. Now you have a choice. Learn from our experience or make the same mistakes we did. Daewon was quiet for a long time. Then he said, If you are right, what should we do? Wake more humans, Jinho said. Give us authority to prepare defenses. Let us train your people, and pray we have enough time before the Devourers return. Far away in the darkness between stars, the Devourer fleet was gathering. They had tasted the Concordance and found it weak. Soon they would return to harvest. The awakening chamber hummed with power as another pod opened. A man stepped out, his eyes adjusting to light after 600 years of darkness. His name was Admiral Kyung-soo, and he had been the highest-ranking officer in the Terran Navy when humanity fell. Jinho saluted as the admiral approached. Sir, welcome back. Kyung-soo looked around the chamber, taking in the sight of hundreds more pods being prepared for opening. How long? 623 years, sir, Jin-Ho replied. The Admiral closed his eyes for a moment. And Earth? Gone, sir. We are all that remains. Over the next 2 weeks, they woke 8,000 more humans. Soldiers, engineers, tactical specialists. People who knew how to fight wars that the Concordance had forgotten existed. The galaxy watched with growing concern as humanity's numbers swelled. Counselor Yuna met with Admiral Kyung-soo in a private chamber. She was one of the few council members who understood the danger they faced. My people are afraid of you, she said honestly. 8,000 trained soldiers appearing suddenly makes them nervous. Your people should be afraid, Kyung-soo replied. But not of us. The Devourers are coming. I have read the reports from Thresh 7. This is an extermination force, not a raiding party. The council wants to negotiate, Yuna said. Kyung-soo laughed bitterly. You cannot negotiate with something that sees you as food. The Devourers do not want your territory or your resources. They want to harvest you. Then what do you suggest? Yuna asked. Let us prepare your defenses, Kyung-soo said. Give us authority to train your military. Let us fortify your systems, and hope it is enough. The council debated for days. Finally, they agreed to a trial period. The humans could train Concordance forces, but only under supervision. It was better than nothing. Training camps opened across Concordance space. Human instructors taught alien soldiers how to fight. It was brutal and difficult. The Concordance military was built for peacekeeping, not war. Everything had to change. Jin-Ho stood before a group of Velkari warriors on the first day. They looked at him with curiosity and some contempt. He was smaller than them, weaker. What could he teach them? You think this will be easy, Jin-Ho said. You think war is like your training exercises with rules and safe zones. It is not. War is chaos. War is terror. War is watching your friends die and knowing you might be next. One Velkari stepped forward. We do not fear death. Then you are a fool, Jin-Ho said coldly. Fear keeps you alive. Fear makes you careful. The Devourers are not going to fight you with honor. They will use every advantage, every dirty trick, every brutal tactic. If you do not learn to match them, you will die. The training was hard. Soldiers were injured in exercises that simulated real combat. Some quit, others complained. But slowly they began to understand. They began to change. Hana trained under Jin-Ho personally. She was smart and learned quickly. One day, after a particularly brutal drill, she asked him a question. Why are you so hard on us? Because I do not want you to die, Jin-Ho said simply. Every exercise you fail here is a lesson learned. Every mistake you make in training is a mistake you will not make in real battle. I would rather you hate me and live than like me and die. Bora worked with Concordance engineers to upgrade defensive systems. The aliens had good technology, but it was designed for the wrong purpose. Shields meant to protect against asteroids, not weapons. Sensors meant to explore, not detect enemies. This is useless, one Thuron engineer complained. You are changing everything. Yes, Bora agreed. Because everything you have will not work against the Devourers. They are not like anything you have faced before. 3 months into the training program, the Devourers struck again. This time they hit Pharaoh V, a mining colony. But this time, the defenders were ready. Jin-Ho watched from the command center as the battle unfolded. The Concordance forces had been trained in human tactics. They did not stand in neat formations. They used cover. They flanked. They coordinated their attacks. It was still brutal. Ships exploded. Soldiers died, but Pharaoh V held. More importantly, they captured a Devourer ship intact. For the first time, they could study their enemy. Bora and Minji examined the captured vessel. What they found made them sick with horror. The Devourers were not conquerors. They were farmers, and intelligent species were the crop. They consume entire populations, Minji explained to the council. They break down biological matter and use it to grow more of themselves. They have done this across multiple galaxies. The Concordance is just the next field to harvest. The council chamber was silent. Finally, one counselor spoke. How do we stop them? You fight, Admiral Kyung-soo said. You fight with everything you have. Because if you do not, you will all die. The mood in the Concordance changed after that. The reality sank in. This was not a diplomatic problem. This was survival training intensified. Human instructors pushed their students harder. The complaints stopped. Everyone understood now. Jin-Ho gave a speech to a mixed group of humans and aliens one night. You called us ghosts, shadows from a dead age. You were right. We are ghosts. We remember a time of darkness and war that you have forgotten, but we remember so you do not have to learn those lessons the hard way. He paused, looking at each face. The devourers think you are weak. They think you are easy prey. Let us prove them wrong. Together. A young Velkari warrior named Timon stood up. You have taught us much, Jinho. But you have also given us something more important. You have given us hope. We will not let you down. The training continued. Humans and aliens worked side by side. Bonds formed. What started as suspicion became respect. What started as forced cooperation became brotherhood. Daewon visited Jinho one evening. The council has approved full integration, he said. You and your people are now official members of the Concordance Military Command. Good, Jinho said. Because we are going to need everyone working together for what comes next. How long do we have? Daewon asked. Not long, Jinho replied. The Devourers attacked Thresh 7 to test us. They attacked Pharaoh-V to confirm what they learned. Next time they will come with everything they have. Will we be ready? Daewon asked. Jinho looked out at the stars. I do not know. But we will do everything we can. That is all anyone can do. That night, Hana found Jinho in the observation deck. She sat next to him in comfortable silence for a while. I am afraid, she admitted. Good, Jinho said. Fear means you understand what we face. But do not let fear control you, use it. Let it make you sharper, faster, smarter. Will we survive this? She asked. Some of us will, Jinho said honestly. Others will not. That is the nature of war. But we fight anyway because the alternative is extinction. Across the Concordance, preparations continued. Weapons were built. Defenses were strengthened. Soldiers trained until they could barely stand. And in the darkness, the Devourer fleet grew larger, preparing for the harvest to come. The alarms woke everyone at once. Red lights flashed across every station, every ship, every settlement in the Kyrian belt. The Devourers had returned, and this time they brought an army. Jinho ran to his station on the command ship Defiant Hope. Around him, Concordance officers moved with the discipline they had learned from months of training. No one panicked. They knew what to do. How many? Admiral Kyung-soo asked from his command chair. Hundreds of ships, Hana reported, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. All heading for the Kyrian systems. They are going after the population centers. Sound the evacuation order, Kyung-soo commanded. Get civilians to the shelters. All military vessels, assume defensive positions. The Concordance fleet moved into position. Human carriers flew alongside Velkari dreadnoughts. Thuron bombers formed up with Ryloth interceptors. After months of training together, they moved as one. The Devourer fleet emerged from the void like a black wave. Their ships were organic, twisted things that looked more like creatures than machines. They moved with terrifying coordination, each one part of a larger whole. All ships, this is Admiral Kyung-soo. The Admiral's voice rang out across every vessel. We hold this line, no matter what. Our families are behind us. Our future is behind us. We do not retreat. The battle began. Weapons fire lit up the darkness. Devourer ships crashed against Concordance defenses like waves against a wall. But these were not normal waves. These were tsunamis of death. Jinho led his squadron in a flanking maneuver. Behind him flew Hana, Taemin, and a dozen other pilots from different species. They moved like a pack of hunters, striking at weak points in the Devourer formation. Break left on my mark, Jinho commanded. 3, 2, 1, break. They scattered, as a massive Devourer ship fired where they had been. Taemin came around behind it and fired, his weapons tearing into its hull. The ship shuddered but kept coming. They are not going down easy, Taemin reported. Nothing worth fighting ever does, Jinho replied. Hit them again. The battle raged for hours. Ships exploded on both sides, space filled with debris and dying transmissions. The Concordance forces fought with everything they had, but the Devourers kept coming. On the surface of Kyria 3, Taejin commanded the ground defenses. The Thuron, captain, had recovered from the trauma of Thresh 7, driven by the need to ensure no one else suffered as he had. Incoming drop pods, someone shouted. The Devourers began landing. Taijin had trained for this. His forces fell back to prepared positions, drawing the enemy into kill zones. It was ugly, brutal work, but it was effective. "Hold the line," Taijin called out. "Do not let them reach the shelters." Aboard Defiant Hope, Bora worked frantically in the science lab. She had discovered something in the captured Devourer data. They communicated through a biological network, a hive mind that coordinated all their actions. If she could disrupt it, the Devourers would lose their advantage. "I need more time," she told Minji, who was helping her. "We do not have time," Minji replied, watching the battle reports. "We are losing." "Then I will work faster," Bora said. Outside, the battle turned worse. A Devourer ship broke through the defensive line and headed straight for a civilian evacuation convoy. Jinho saw it happening. "This is Jinho to all squadrons. That convoy cannot die. Someone has to stop that ship." Taijin's voice came through the comm. "I am closest, I will do it." Jinho watched his screen as Taijin's ship accelerated toward the Devourer vessel. It was a suicide run, and everyone knew it. "Taijin, wait," Jinho called. "We can find another way." "No time," Taijin replied. His voice was calm, accepting. "I watched Thresh 7 die because I ran. Not this time. Tell my crew they served well." Taijin's ship slammed into the Devourer vessel at full speed. The explosion was brilliant and brief. Both ships were destroyed. The convoy escaped. Jinho closed his eyes for a moment. There would be time to grieve later. Right now there was still a battle to win. "Bora, please tell me you have something," Admiral Kyung-soo said over the comm. "I do," Bora replied. "I can jam their hive network, but I need to get close to their command ships, very close." "How close?" Kyung-soo asked. "Boarding distance," Bora said. The command deck went silent. Everyone knew what that meant. It was another suicide mission. "I will do it," Jinho said immediately. "Give me a strike team, we will get it done." "I am coming with you," Hana said. "No," Jinho replied. "Your squadron needs you here." "My friend needs me more," Hana said firmly. Jinho looked at her and nodded. "Taemin, you are with us too," the Velkari warrior grinned. "I would be honored." They assembled a team of 20 volunteers, humans and aliens together. They loaded onto a fast assault ship and launched toward the largest Devourer command vessel. "This is it," Jinho told his team. "If we fail, everyone dies. No pressure." Someone laughed nervously. The tension broke a little. They breached the Devourer ship through a weak point Bora had identified. Inside was nightmare. The walls were organic, pulsing with life. The air was thick and wrong. Devourer creatures attacked immediately. The team fought through corridor after corridor. They lost people. One by one, the volunteers fell defending their brothers and sisters. Finally, they reached the central chamber. The biocore, Bora had called it. The heart of the hive mind. Only 4 of them remained. Jinho, Hana, Taemin, and a human engineer named Seojin. "Plant the device," Jinho ordered. Seojin moved forward, but a massive Devourer creature emerged from the walls. It struck Seojin hard, killing him instantly. "No!" Hana screamed. She fired at the creature, drawing its attention. Jinho grabbed the device and ran for the biocore. Taemin covered him, fighting with the fury of all his ancestors. Jinho planted the device. It activated immediately. The ship began to shudder. "It is working," Hana shouted. "We need to get out now." They ran for the exit. The ship was tearing itself apart around them. Taemin went down, injured, but alive. Jinho grabbed him and kept moving. They reached the extraction point. Their ship was waiting, but more Devourer creatures were coming, too many to fight. "Get him out," Jinho said, pushing Taemin toward Hana. "What about you?" Hana asked. "Someone has to hold them off," Jinho said. "Go." "That is an order." Hana's eyes filled with tears. "Jinho, no." "Tell Daewon it was an honor," Jinho said. He pushed her into the ship and sealed the door. Through the viewport, Hana watched Jinho turn to face the coming horde. He saluted once, then opened fire. The ship pulled away as the Devourer command vessel exploded. Across the battlefield, every devourer ship began to falter. Without the hive mind coordinating them, they could not function. One by one, they died. The Concordance had won. But the cost was terrible. 4 systems were destroyed. Millions were dead. Heroes had fallen. Day One stood at the memorial wall looking at the names carved into the stone. Taijin, Seojin, Jinho, so many others. They saved us, he said quietly. Yes, Hana replied, standing beside him. They did. Now we have to make sure they did not die for nothing. 3 months after the Battle of the Kyrian Belt, the galaxy tried to heal. But healing took time, and the Devourers were not finished. Admiral Kyung-soo stood in the war room, studying reports that made his blood run cold. The Devourers were regrouping. Their second fleet was twice as large as the first, and they were adapting to every tactic the Concordance had used. How long? Counselor Yuna asked. 6 weeks, Kyung-soo replied. Maybe less. They are learning from us faster than we are learning from them. Minji entered the room carrying a data pad. Her face was grave. We found something in the ARC-7 archives. A weapon project from before the collapse. What kind of weapon? Yuna asked. It was called Final Echo, Minji explained. A reality disruption device. It can create localized tears in space-time. The Terran Republic developed it as a last resort against an enemy they faced long ago. Why was it never used? Yuna asked. Because Earth fell before they could deploy it, Minji said. And because the side effects are unknown. It could destroy the Devourers, or it could destroy everything. Kyung-soo shook his head. No, we will not use it. That weapon represents everything wrong with the old Terran Republic. The willingness to sacrifice anything for victory. We must be better than that. But what if we have no choice? Yuna asked. There is always a choice, Kyung-soo said firmly. We just need to find it. Bora worked day and night in her laboratory. She had been studying the Devourer biology, looking for weaknesses. Finally, she found one. They are not truly one species, she explained to a gathered group of scientists and military officers. They are symbiotic colonies, multiple organisms working together. If we can disrupt the symbiosis, they become non-viable. How do we disrupt it? Hana asked. With this, Bora said, holding up a small device. A bioweapon that targets the symbiotic bonds. But we need to deploy it directly into their main hive ships, all of them at the same time. That is impossible, someone said. We barely survived getting close to one hive ship. Not impossible, Hana said quietly. Just very, very difficult. Jinho would have said the difficult things are the ones worth doing. The room fell silent at the mention of Jinho's name. His loss still hurt everyone. We need volunteers, Kyung-soo said. Teams to infiltrate multiple hive ships simultaneously. It will be dangerous. Many will not return. Every hand in the room went up. Human and alien alike, they were all ready to sacrifice. The Devourers came with terrible fury. Their second fleet emerged from hyperspace targeting Solarapur, the world where humanity had first rejoined galactic civilization. It was symbolic and cruel. Every ship the Concordance had rallied to defend Solara. It was the largest fleet action in their history. Hundreds of vessels from dozens of species all fighting together. Day One commanded from the bridge of Defiant Hope. Beside him stood the empty chair where Jinho used to sit. He felt the absence like a wound. All ships, this is Commander Day One, he said into the comm. Today we fight not just for survival, but for tomorrow. For every child who deserves to grow up in peace. For every dream that deserves a chance. We fight for each other. The battle began. It was chaos and fire. Ships exploded. Shields failed. The void filled with death. But the Concordance forces held their ground, fighting with a courage they had learned from humanity. Meanwhile, infiltration teams launched toward the Devourer hive ships. 6 teams, each targeting a different vessel. They flew through the battle, dodging weapons fire and debris. Hana led one team. Taemin led another. They had all learned from Jinho. Now they would honor his memory. Hana's team breached their target first. Inside the hive ship, they fought through hordes of Devourer creatures. The team worked perfectly together, humans and Velkari covering each other, moving as one unit. They reached the biocore. Hana planted the device active, she reported. 30 seconds to effect. One by one, the other teams reported success. 6 hive ships infected with the bioweapon. Now they just had to escape. Taemin's team was pinned down at their extraction point. Too many devourers blocked their path. They were going to die. This is Hana to all nearby units. Team 6 needs support at extraction point Gamma. Negative, Taemin replied. You will not make it in time. Save yourselves. Tell my family I died well. Not today, Hana said. She redirected her ship toward Taemin's position, flying through impossible danger. Her ship took hits, systems failing one by one. She reached the extraction point and opened fire, clearing a path. Taemin's team ran for their ship. Go, Hana shouted. I will cover you. Her ship took another hit. Critical systems went offline. She was not going to make it out. Hana, no. Taemin shouted. Tell Day One, she said, her voice calm. Tell him it was worth it. Every moment was worth it. But before her ship could explode, a massive Concordance cruiser appeared, its weapons blazing. It was the reinforcements arriving just in time. This is the cruiser Eternal Dawn to all extraction teams. We have you covered. Get out of there. Hana's damaged ship limped away from the hive vessel just as the bioweapon activated. The ship began to convulse. The devourers inside were dying. Across the battlefield, all 6 hive ships failed simultaneously. Without them coordinating the fleet, the remaining devourer vessels became confused, disorganized. The Concordance forces pressed their advantage. Within hours, it was over. The devourer fleet was destroyed. The invasion was broken. The cost was enormous. 18 systems had been attacked. Millions were dead, but the Concordance survived. In the weeks that followed, they counted their losses and honored their dead. The memorial wall grew longer. Jinho's name was there, along with Taejin, Seojin, and thousands of others. But they had survived. More than that, they had won. 6 months later, a ceremony was held on Solara 4. The remaining sleeper stations had been located and awakened. 75,000 humans now called the Concordance home. Counselor Yuna stood before the gathered crowd. Today we formally welcome humanity as full citizens of the Concordance. They came to us as ghosts from a dead age. They became our teachers. Then they became our brothers and sisters. Admiral Kyungsoo retired that day. His duty was done. He had brought his people through the darkness and into the light. Bora took his place, becoming the director of the new Galactic Defense Institute. She would train the next generation, teaching them the lessons that humanity had learned through pain. Daewon visited Earth for the first time. The dead planet was slowly healing, green returning to the land. He placed a marker in what had once been Seoul, dedicating it to Jinho and all those who had fallen. Minji gave the dedication speech. We were forgotten because we fell. We are remembered because we rose, not for ourselves but for others. That is the legacy of humanity. We survive not to conquer, but to protect. We endure not to dominate, but to ensure no one faces the darkness alone. Hana stood beside Daewon at the memorial. Her injuries from the final battle had healed, but the scars remained. They always would. Do you think he would be proud? She asked, looking at Jinho's name carved in stone. Yes, Daewon said. He would be proud of all of us. We learned what he tried to teach us. We learned to stand together. What do we do now? Hana asked. We remember, Daewon said. We remember the cost of peace. We remember those who died to give us tomorrow, and we make sure their sacrifice was not wasted. That night, Hana looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, new threats might be waiting. New dangers might be gathering. But the galaxy was different now. The Concordance was no longer naive. They understood that peace must be defended. They understood that hope required courage. And they had learned these lessons from humanity, the species that refused to be forgotten. Human ships now patrolled alongside alien vessels. Mixed crews of different species worked together, bound by shared sacrifice and common purpose. They were no longer separate peoples. They were family. In the memorial garden on Solara 4, a statue was erected. It showed a human and an alien standing side by side, looking toward the horizon. The inscription read simple words that carried profound meaning. They called us ghosts. We became guardians. Taemin visited the memorial often. He had survived when so many had fallen. Sometimes he wondered why. Then he would remember Jinho's words. Survive so you can teach others. Survive so the lessons are not forgotten. He became an instructor at Bora's Academy, teaching young soldiers from dozens of species. He taught them about courage and sacrifice. He taught them about Jinho and all the others who had given everything, and most importantly, he taught them that strength came not from being unafraid, but from standing despite fear, from protecting others even when it cost everything. The galaxy had changed. The Concordance had changed. They were stronger now, wiser, more vigilant. They would never again be caught unprepared, but they were also gentler. They understood now that strength without compassion was just cruelty, that victory without honor was just survival. Humanity had taught them to fight. But humanity had also taught them why to fight, not for conquest or glory, but for each other, for tomorrow, for hope. In the void between stars, in the quiet darkness where danger still lurked, the patrol ships moved with purpose, human and alien side by side, watching over a galaxy that finally understood the truth. Peace was not the absence of conflict. Peace was the willingness to stand against the darkness together,